There, that works.
Good evening, this is a meeting of the Hampden Board of Selectmen and the Board of Health being held in the Townhouse on September 23rd, 2024 at 6 p.m. This meeting is being conducted in person or remotely using video conferencing technology. Please stand for the pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Is everyone recording the meeting other than ourselves? I see Kristen Rivers from the Wilbraham Hampden Times. Thank you, Kristen. Good evening. The first item on the agenda is minutes of the September 9th, 2024 meeting. We had representatives of Great Horse to come and speak to us about placing a zone change on the special town meeting warrant. The fire department was here, was a appointed call probationary firefighter. The senior center building committee was here to discuss their project. We discussed the increase in employee benefits due to more people taking the healthcare plan plus health or life insurance, which we'll discuss also tonight. And we talked about what's going to be on the special town meeting warrant. Our attorney on the cable TV franchise sent us a draft proposal. We talked about a timeline for the Thornton Burgess School, moving the town offices there. Talked about Selectmen's upcoming meetings and some correspondence from the board, some permits for the Fall Fest and for the hazardous waste thing, or waste disposal thing. That's it.
Motion approved.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next item we have is we have our cemetery commission here. Pardo, 2/3. Come on up, okay?
Thank you.
So basically, we have a warrant article, a placeholder warrant article for money for maintenance.
That's
So we're
correct.
kind of wondering, we're trying to put the warrant together, so we're wondering how much and what's it for and where we are with that.
The dollar amount that I'd like for it to be is $7,500. And the purpose of the additional monies is for removing trees and also to do some lawn care, such as winterizing the grass, putting some fertilizer down in alignment, and then in the spring to start giving, and this is just a portion of Prospect Hill. But we want to start that because basically the erosion is quite significant there. And want to see what we can salvage and then what we're going to have to do to improve those grave sites. So that's what the dollar amount is. That's the purpose. And we've done quite a bit already. And one of the reasons that we're asking for the money now is when we came in for the 24-25 budget, we just brought forward the previous budget, not knowing what we might be doing or needing to do. And the budget is for the maintenance presently covers the mowing, and anything we do outside of that takes us over into the old draft section.
Why wouldn't you look into CPA money? Like, I think the cemetery has gotten it 3 times in the past for different projects. Community preservation money.
First of all, new to the job.
No, that could be, that's certainly a valid answer. I know we did the fencing with it. We did some work on the gravestones as well, I believe.
But
So,
what we've done so far this year, let me get my list in front of me if I may. But we've done at Old Cemetery, we've cut a few trees and removed the brush at the entry gate. And it all was triggered by a lawsuit that or not a lawsuit, a disgruntled burial, I guess would be a better way to term it. And then we have had erosion and ponding at the circle flag, where the flagpole is.
Mhm.
And so we've dealt with that type of drainage. And then we've had, in terms of our software, we've had to do make some changes, make a lot of changes. Because of either omissions or the way it was set up. That's an old cemetery. And Prospect Hill, we've almost duplicated the same. Again, significant amount of road paving, erosion, repair. We've done the mower fence with the bittersweet and the sumac. We cut that back so we now can see a fence and we can find one of the graves that was in that area. Plus, we've had some of the folks that own the graves in that area asking that it be cleared back so that they could find their sites.
How about you mentioned the erosion. I know that several years back, we had a problem with erosion on the west side, going to Dalton's house, if you will. Has that abated somewhat?
That's
So
why
just as
I
bad?
want some of this fertilizer and lime and things to find out where the grass is and where it isn't, because we're gonna have to follow up with bringing in some loam and some extensive rework. We've got some.
On that slope going into Dalton's area.
That
Yeah.
whole hillside. Just as we've also have accomplished a significant amount of mapping, which we couldn't do in the past. And I brought this along to you folks if you want it or want to see it. And this is the entry, the main gate,
This is Prospect?
Prospect Hill, yes.
Did you say a lot of the maintenance and erosion is just from years of neglect?
Yeah. And they
I was
used
gonna
to,
say neglect, but since you said it.
they used to butcher the long and short.
Yeah.
No,
They
it's just
killed
getting
it.
broken.
The
Dalton's
road
house
was intensified by
should be
doing that.
down that.
The
Dalton-
lawn,
Bill
care
Bob.
people used to cut it way too short?
So
Yeah.
it's never
Are you still using the same company or?
And he had
I
that
think
second
that's
house
when the
there,
town was
which
doing it.
held it a bit,
Dana
when they,
fixed
the
it
owners took that
last
down.
time, so.
A while ago.
Yeah,
We put a berm in there too at one time.
That was one thing, they put, I think they need some curtain. We're sorry, we're discussing, you know, Dalton had that second house there, which really kind of held a bit in the garage, I think. Phil Pot, and when he took that down, that really exacerbated that drainage problem on that slope. I think at one time, Mark was talking about putting some curtain drains or some type of, some system in trying to shuttle the water way down to the back.
Because of the way the sale of the lots and that has occurred, that's really not realistic unless we start moving a lot of people. And but what we did here is the roads, alongside the roads, the soil was washing out. And we've had that chip sealed or whatever you call it to fill.
Sure.
And really a good job. So the water will shed across it rather than auger it out.
But is it shedding down the slope or should it be brought back to the road, to the road drainage?
No, let's leave it alone.
Okay. What's the build out now, so to speak, just the, whatever, if you wanna call it that number, I mean, of the projected number of lots, how many are left?
Hundreds.
100 total?
No,
Oh,
hundreds,
Hundreds?
hundreds.
Oh, okay. Yeah, how about an old cemetery? Much less?
Hundreds. You got the new portion, that's only got a few bodies in it.
The part over towards Fairfield Manor? You mean, or,
To the left when
yeah,
you're in.
Fairfield, yeah.
That whole side there is probably only got, say, 40 in there, and it probably handles. I don't have the numbers in front of me. There was you asked me a couple, 3 months ago, I could have told you. But,
I think Dwayne's telling us about that BOGO thing he's got coming up soon, buy one, get one.
no, we're not really pushing the sale of them. I think that the cemetery commission as a whole has, into this fiscal year, a significant amount of money went back to the town that was swept from our revolving account. And also the fact that we did not use up one of the other accounts. So I bet if you look at the close numbers, the numbers I would like to believe is around 30,000. So anyway, we're doing okay. If you folks would like that, you can keep it. Let's see.
Is there any chance that your database, I mean, maybe it already is. Do some towns have their cemetery database searchable online? And this probably has to do with some more staffing, you know, if you go to Hillcrest, I'm sure you can probably,
I
You know,
think there's actually companies that go and do that, like findmygrave.com and stuff like that. There's whole registries already online.
but do we have to like make ours available?
I don't
to-
think so. I think I was able to find certain individuals, you know, historic individuals in our old Hampden cemetery.
That's what I'm saying, so how is our database already
I
been
think-
integrated into that,
I think people are just going there and
doing it on their
doing
own?
it on their own,
Okay.
yeah.
You can do some of that now, but to get into the more detailed information, I've received some emails from Sims. And Sims was a very tough program starting for us because it's a very sophisticated program, does a lot. And it's only as good as how well it was created and implemented. And we have put many hours into it. We created this book with a map with very, if I may, I'll just show you one section. But what it does is, here, I get a section that doesn't have any names in it. We just completed one section where about 4 families have lots of 12 grave sites. They weren't even there, but they had bodies in the cemetery. And then we had another section where there were 3 of these individuals in the ground and nothing in the software. So we've been doing a lot of updating. And what you'll see here is the lots and the lot numbers. And then in each one of these, depending on the color in that, there'll be a name that goes with it. Not necessarily on these, but. Let's see here, am I on the wrong page? Just because I created it, I don't remember how it works.
I have to say, Dwayne, I think you were on the board with Jim when we talked about getting that software originally, way back when.
I don't ever remember talking about it, but I know that Jim was
20-something
involved.
years ago, yeah.
Jim was involved with it and his brother. There, this is what I was looking for. You can see the names, some of the symbols, shows whether they were buried or if they're cremations. It'll show the families that own it and things of that nature. So this is on the Sims system. And what we did is created our, and a lot of work went into this.
I imagine.
And a lot of work has gone into bringing this thing up to the integrity of it up. And I'm just gonna say, I'm proud of it. It may not be perfect, but
It's unbelievable.
Can I ask you one, go back to your funding request? The work you're looking to do, is this work that you're gonna be doing in, I mean,
Some
this
of it's-
fall or this spring?
some of it, the minute we go out of this meeting, I'm gonna call the guy and he's gonna put us on the schedule to do a winterizing.
Well, that's not the money you're asking for at the town meeting,
Because.
but you don't have that money.
Huh?
You don't have that money.
That's right. That's why I say, the minute I go to town meeting. and if
Oh,
it's
yeah,
approved-
they said coming out of this meeting, you said, okay, yeah, okay. But,
And that way, we're going to, and we're trying, rather than doing the whole thing, we're trying to pick the area that needs it most, and that is Prospect Hill and the left-hand side, that's this fall. But then in the spring, the complete grounds will go into a program of treating the grass there, just to bring that to a more healthy situation.
which your budget does not have money for winterizing now?
That's correct. It does not, it has, we believe it has enough to do the mowings. That's it. That's what it ended up this past year, and that's what we renewed at. And we've done some tree cutting that was, we ran over on the end of the year, and we had to get money from other sources, so we're trying to be one step ahead and
what was the amount you're looking for?
7,500. I was gonna go for 10, but I'm cut down on what I'm gonna do this fall.
Alright,
Yeah, I just wish we had gone with CPA for it, that's all.
well, maybe.
On the other hand, CPA
project
is
with-
more for capital type
Yeah,
things
capital.
rather than, because it does
This is
sound
more
like this is
maintenance.
something, you're gonna wanna annually increase your budget by this amount.
Absolutely.
Right.
The other thing about CPA money is I know we've talked with Connie about it in the past. Remember when we went to that Robert Sessions ceremony, and there was a bunch of old headstones that were broken, falling down. I mean, maybe it's something to think about in the future, trying to
But we
repair some of those with CPA funds.
we have that information from them, and at that time, it was passed on to us that they do have some money. And Eiley has that information in her possession, and is beginning to do the research on that grant, if it's possible.
Okay.
Especially
So,
if it was a matching grant and we came up with, they'll give you 10,000 if the town gives you 5 and CPA could give that 5 towards it, whatever. Who is it that's doing the good job you see him? Is it Dave Boshier?
Yeah,
Doing a
yeah.
great job on those stone restorations, you know?
but, you know, we came into this
Mhm.
completely naive. I didn't think this was going to be a big,
I thought Brian was doing a 4-day training session with you for cemetery. Brian, what happened?
speaking
5 days.
of Brian, speaking of Jean, speaking of Lauren, and speaking of Eva is huge, Dick, Cliff, Mark from the highway, Rose, she spent a couple of days with me over a situation, and Tim Connors was very, very helpful. You know, he was, and he did a lot, and we had some excellent vendors, you know, whether it be Carl or Billy or Dana or Jerry, and our Brian from the landscape company, the mowing company, and the monument and the funeral home. They've all been on board to do whatever they can to make our job better. And we're working to change that image that we were that people were complaining about when we first came on board. And I think we're making some headway,
Good.
and we're proud of it.
You're gonna make the motion at town meeting, you'll make the motion.
Either myself, Eiley,
Whatever,
or one of us
Yeah,
will.
right. One last question I would have, and I think we shared it before, is that the board several years ago made a thing that minutes, agendas would be on the town website.
Okay,
And we haven't seen, there isn't a minute from the cemetery commission ever. There were some back from 23, but there's been nothing since the new board came on. I assume you're meeting.
oh, we're meeting.
Okay, and I assume somebody's taking minutes.
Well, the agendas are on, but the minutes aren't.
And the agendas could be, the last one was an Excel spreadsheet.
What's that?
The last agenda was an Excel spreadsheet.
I
But
think Eva has an official heading for agendas.
no, it's on there, but it's not.
It's just on Excel, like you're saying.
It's in
I think
Excel, yeah.
She's got the actual.
But I think if people would appreciate the minutes thing, just to know, and I hate to say it, it's good for you, because it shows, just like you talked about, you spent 15 minutes telling us what you do. The minutes would reflect to people that the cemetery commission is there working hard. You guys are meeting almost every week and you're doing something, and I think the minutes would do that.
We've also looked at the cemetery rules
Mhm.
and have recreated. a
And I
new-
saw you posted them online, that was great, yeah.
And we've also, this one here is kind of dear to me. This is the format that, again, Haley is doing such a phenomenal job. She used to be a paralegal someplace, and what she puts together. And this is a draft, if you were to want to purchase the graves. Not only do you get a letter telling you what's happening, but then you get a deed. And by the way, we do have a stamp, but there's our updated deed. And then following that, right now, if you, Don, bought a lot, and it was for 8 graves, and you passed, and your heirs come in, and they can't get together, we've got this right now. they can't, the three of them can't get together. And they're all saying, I want this, I want this. So this is a chain of command.
Who tells who goes where?
Yep.
If they want it.
And then, in addition to that, your heirs, when you purchase the lot, may say, I want to be buried here, here, and here. This is a layout of
This
what
is
is
as bad as Christmas dinner, I'm not sitting next to him, basically.
And, if I can get this separated. And again, it has our rules, what's expected, and then it's a copy of where their plot might be. So, that's why I say, I'm really proud of this. We are also looking at our fees.
But this gets back to what I'm saying, you guys are doing great, and I think this has been extremely valuable, because we didn't understand. But people need to know that.
Yeah.
Get your minutes on, let people know the great work you're doing,
Yeah, and
really.
the fact is, when I first marked the grave, the maps were all wrong, and I was waiting for this.
Yeah,
And now it's like unbelievable, I'm going
Yeah.
up there, they're making sense now.
exactly.
Before I scratched my head up there for hours looking around, and I actually had to say a prayer to find someone, I did, I found her.
You were in the same areas you were?
The sun shined on there. It's 2-story. I said, thank you, God.
Seance.
And what's really great right now is Daryl and Eileen and myself. We all enjoy each other. We all come to the table with
You
different
sound like you're
strengths.
still great, getting things done.
Good.
And,
We have some other committee openings if you have free time.
pardon?
We have some other committee openings if you have free time.
Daryl, you like wetlands, don't you?
You don't want it.
All right,
right, thank you.
Okay, see you at town meeting.
All right.
And I want to thank everybody that has helped us. You know, that's really been what's made this possible.
Thank you.
It'd be nice if you guys just gave me 7,500 and said, go for
Let's
it.
give you the check right now, right?
Yeah, you bet.
Thank you.
So, now, you see how cleverly we've done this? We've had the cemetery commission, now we're gonna talk about life insurance.
And see, we're working our way up.
Backwards.
Go ahead. What's the deal? Go ahead, boy.
You know, I've been working municipal government like this for 30-some odd years, and I'm still always amazed that no matter what size the town is, everything is the same, just numbers are different. Whether I was in Richmond, Massachusetts this morning, or I'm in Torresville, Katy, it's the same, just numbers are different. People are the same.
And you're surprised they still get volunteers for these jobs too, I'm sure.
Yeah, I was on our Park Rec Commission in Wilbraham for 10 years,
Mhm.
and I got a whole new perspective of government being on that side of it.
Mhm.
So what are we doing here? What's the, so. What do we do? So we're looking at 20,000?
Yeah.
That's what the request was, to have a price proposal for 20,000. Yep.
So, so you figured if all of the employees took it, right? The monthly premium would be $728 for the town, was that what the town would pay?
The town pays 50%, right?
Yeah.
So whatever that number is, 50% of that would be the town, and 50% would be the employee's contribution.
Right, but at our current enrollment level, how much more would we need if we increase it to 20, how much more do we
Oh,
need?
on a monthly basis?
Yeah.
Um,
At our current enrollment level. And then it could be like the health insurance where all of a sudden people say, oh, 20, I'm gonna sign up for that. We might need a little extra,
Well, we're paying, how much we
only
paying
10
now?
now,
Yeah.
only 10, right?
Is it 126 a month now, Brian? I think it would look like 170. So it really doesn't go up that much, because as
Right,
you,
cause see, right now, you're saying if we did it right now, it'd be 9,000. For the 49 people at 20,000.
right.
But it's not 9,000,
Right,
because
it's
right
not
now we're
9,000.
paying
Boston Mutual runs those numbers,
6,000
okay.
based on it, so it's an extra
Right.
3
Right,
Right.
so, yeah, it's actually like
So-
$50 a month
more,
more,
right? So it sounds like it's a minimal increase for
It is.
doubling the coverage.
yeah, exactly.
And I know from business, whatever, like you said, 20,000, 10,000 is not, you can't get a burial done for 10,000.
Right.
And that's just nothing left for whatever, that's just burying the person.
Right, exactly.
Even 20,
Right.
you know, so, it seems to me it's the right thing to do.
You know, it's definitely the right thing to do. It's always a budget issue. And in this case, I don't think the budget is,
Well, I was just trying to look for that differential part, it's not, we're not adding 9,000 to the budget.
Right.
We're adding
Three-ish.
three and a half maybe.
right.
Right.
And when we go through the town and do the re-enrollment, you might get, you know, half a
Couple more
dozen
people.
more people that come on board.
Yeah,
And hopefully in the future, as you get new hires, that we'll have somebody from Boston Mutual reach out to those people to make sure they know that it's available and what it is, and how it works and all that kind of stuff. And it'll be a very communication process. Then also, if you remember from the last meeting, that we're going to offer them some additional insurance. If they want to pick up more than 20,000, they'll be able to do that on their own.
On their own,
through
right.
Payroll, but it's their 100% cost.
almost like a 401K where they can do an additional thing, but the company doesn't have to.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't wanna beat this to death, but Chair, can I make a motion to, increase the life insurance benefit to 20,000?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Mark.
What's the next step?
Next step is I will bring in the
Enrollment.
enrollment manager. We'll
Yep.
meet with Brian and Warren and set up some meetings throughout the town and
Okay.
start the communication process.
And then perhaps, Brian, we could actually get that differential number when Dick is available to see what we're actually increasing that.
Maybe
In
send out a
employee
survey
benefits
too,
too.
because if we're at 49 now, if we send that out, or is anybody else gonna want to take advantage of that, so.
Well, we're gonna go through the whole town through the departments.
Right.
Right, but the new people would impact us the full 728, right, yeah,
Yes.
so. Now, 3 new people pick it up, it's 2,000 as opposed to,
Right.
so. I haven't, trying to think, 49, I wonder, how many employees do we
I think
have?
actually
How many employees do we
39,
have?
We have 9 current enrollees, the maximum we could have is 39.
39.
And if they're
Yeah, I know
eligible,
where
please.
Boston Mutual got that 49.
I would see the
Oh, yeah.
49, they're like, yeah.
Yeah,
How many people?
the town's growing. The town's
How many
growing.
employees do we have? I mean, you count the police department.
We have 39 benefit
39
eligible.
benefit eligible.
Benefit eligible,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't know where
Right.
Boston Mutual got that. Like, maybe they're thinking you guys are gonna be growing leaps and bounds. That would be a 25%
That would be something.
increase.
All right,
All right,
Very
so,
good.
so I'll be in touch, Brian Warren, and,
Yep.
I appreciate everybody's
EE eligible employee, EE eligible employee.
39.
Yeah, it's 39.
Okay, great,
Okay, John,
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
thank you.
Warren, Brian, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, special town meeting warrant, do you have anything new to add to that?
you guys touching on this week or just legal edits with Rose?
Yeah, so I have some red line edits from Rose that she provided me. My guess is the North Road conservation articles are not gonna be ready. The Rockadundy Bridge layout is not gonna be ready. Depending on what happens with the fiber committee,
We're knocking this off.
An hour right there.
depending on what the fiber committee talks about, that may or may not be on there, so.
2-minute recap type thing. Yeah, with what's going on, who knows, right?
And we could talk a little bit more about that.
Okay. So we'll have
Any
more next
updates?
week, hopefully.
We know we got $7,500 for the cemetery commission. Right?
Yep. We're working on I talked with Chief Pullen this afternoon. He's working on numbers for the generator and the flooring, the
then we
hazardous
need-
material basement
And
abatement
then we
for the
need
flooring.
Dick for a number for employee benefit, right,
That's the big number.
That's the- potentially, sure.
Yep. But Green Meadows Elementary School capital item, probably not, I would guess.
On that there, and I know I brought that forward, and that was something that Brian and I talked about with Aaron. And then when the current news on Aaron, I really have to think, I hate to say it, I don't think it's at the top of their agenda to get it done. So I think there is a need for it, so I think it's just something we pencil in for the spring and get it done at that point.
There's another one off.
Yeah.
Yeah, geez. I'm sorry. Marx Brothers, that contract thing, you ever saw that one, just keep ripping off.
All right,
All right,
that's it?
Yep, those are the only changes that I have.
Okay,
Almost gets us under 20. Close to 20.
what?
Close to 20.
Okay, all right, we're getting there. TWB update, we have their suggested. So the discussion around this was,
Oh, I'm sorry, is this their school committee one or the meeting with Time Bond? When you
this
say
is the
TWB,
school
update.
committee one.
not the Time Bond thing?
You can talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, I was
I think
saving
it
it for
leads
you.
into what you're
Okay,
doing.
go ahead.
Which one, time bond?
Yeah, just so we met
Oh.
Mohammed.
Yeah, exactly what John said. We met with Mohammed. And we talked about the layouts. We talked about just the spatial planning process. Two sort of unique inputs. We need our library in Parks and Rec because they sort of have unique operational needs. And I need to get back with them, to Mohammed with some of our informal space needs analysis in terms of number of employees, offices, those types of things. But
I think he gave us a good
Sure, pretty
recap.
well.
He was looking at the bones of it basically and said overall the building's in good shape. He made us aware that in his opinion, there would be a need for sprinklers because of the size of the building and whatever. I know that there's some discussion of what a ballpark that would be. If we were looking at phases of improvement, that would be a phase A roof and parking lot, phase B, phase C, whatever. In his opinion, in terms of the structure, sprinklers were going to be required. Probably involve a well and a tank because the current well would not be able to supply the continuous demand.
Be required because of the building use.
The building use and the size of the building, anything over 7,000 square feet, and there is nothing in there now.
And
And then they're going into a spatial thing, and I think that's Craig's job, right? Is it Craig and somebody else? Mohammed was more the bones of the building.
yeah, yeah, they have a fire protection engineer, and it's something we'll have to explore with the building commissioner when we
Yeah.
get back.
Person, you know,
Sure.
is there any exemption to it or whatever?
well,
But
that's my question. If it was being used as a school, it doesn't need sprinklers. But since we're using it as a town government building, it now requires sprinklers? Or is this only if we're remodeling and expanding?
Yeah, there may be a renovation, a threshold trigger
Right.
on renovations that would require sprinkling.
and who's to say they weren't? There shouldn't have been sprinklers ahead of time before, and anyhow.
Right, but
Right.
I'm just curious, it's just an added expense there.
Yeah. Probably the biggest expense in the whole thing,
Right.
because I mean, it could be ballparked anywhere $1 to $2 million to put in a 70,000 square foot structure with the appurtenances needed outside, like supply and storage.
This is true.
Honestly, if you look at it, probably the biggest part of any move over there. So,
Dig a pond in
Still.
the back.
there's no pond,
We should dig
but still, 2 million is cheaper than 7
7
million.
million.
right?
Yeah,
And hate to say it, you put that, we'd need sprinklers here if you did that.
Yeah,
You'd be
sure,
well
we
over,
need
you'd be well
sprinklers here,
over
too.
the limit of
In
renovation.
addition, it always sticks in my head about the 7 or 8 million, they said, but you wouldn't gain any more space.
right, we'd still be out and a lot of ADA issues, so.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't make the building any better, and that whole plan, that spatial analysis
Yeah.
that lady
Yeah,
did, moved the library out.
We wouldn't know where to put it.
Right, there you go, right, so,
oh well,
thanks for the extra space, you know, so.
all right.
that was a
So
bad
now we have done on that?
Yep.
Now we got the regional agreement. Okay, so the discussion there on the regional agreement with the school committee was that their concern, or their lawyer's concern is that at some point, because of the regional agreement, which says that students have to be educated in their town, at some point, we may need to reuse the building at school. And one of the examples is what I think, one of the school committee members said, well, what if all the people, all the parents in Hampden said they wanted the kids to be educated there? So they need a school, except the superintendent said, well, that would be 3 years out, because we didn't agree with that, so. Anyhow,
Well, that all could have been resolved 6 years ago when,
well,
I'm gonna kick a can backwards.
right, so I don't have a problem with that, putting that in there, because I don't foresee it happening.
Well, what happens in 3 years? They said, oh, we need TWB back. And we're in there, we have nowhere to go. And what?
So,
Where we're gonna move?
well, I think that's an issue.
It's a major issue. If we spend $2 million for sprinklers, just throwing numbers out there.
Yeah.
We move all our X amount of dollars to move there.
Mhm.
Who knows what happens with this building in that short period of time, you know? And we're there, and then we agree to this, and they come back and say, hey, you know, we have a new, you know, idea of how we wanna operate the district. And it doesn't involve you having a town hall and that too.
Well, they're coming to town meeting in the spring to change the regional, ask to change the regional agreement to regionalize 6-12.
Okay,
No,
Yeah,
so that's new within your last,
yeah, that's what, and it sits in here too.
right,
And, I would make the argument that they're already past the 5-year deadline.
Mhm.
Because
I remember brought that
I
out,
don't,
the Desi thing.
Yeah.
even though that class was in here, I don't think that constitutes a.
Educational purpose.
right.
Because those students are technically graduated from the high school, they're 18 to 22, so, or 18 to 25.
Bye, guys.
Right,
So,
There was a plan done, remember back in the middle school task force thing, and to speak to
Yeah.
your point, that if there was a need for that, there was I'm gonna say it was almost a 4 modular pod
yeah,
at the end of the 6th grade wing,
6th grade, right.
pretty much to the ball field, so there was an option for expanding basically Green Meadows into K-8 program by adding 4 classrooms in a little pod thing just outside, which wasn't technically connected, so it didn't trigger something.
Right.
Right. But it was basically this 4 pod area that was good enough for 7th and 8th, basically. I've always said, Green Meadows was sized for another addition.
Hmm.
The only limiting factor is probably the cafeteria. You know, that's the biggest drawback. You'd be into lunch at 10:30, but I hate to say it, they do that at the high school
they
now.
do it at the middle school right now
Yeah.
too.
And at the high school.
They, you
Yeah.
know, each grade has split lunches, so,
Mhm.
you know, they get 15 minutes for lunch and then 15 minutes for recess, so they can swap.
That was one thing about the old miniature, by gosh, that cafeteria was 3 of them, done, basically, 2 big ones, 2 halves, and then the other one, yeah. Anyhow, that's good to know. So, what
Anyway.
in this thing here?
Okay, so let's go down the list, let's go down the thing, right? So the first paragraph is fine, right, that's just the date, you know, entered into, okay? Second one, the town of Hampden owns the Thornton Burgess School, right, okay? Third one, the town of Hampden leases to the Wilbraham Regional School District, and the regional school district leases from the town, so it's just stuck with, okay? Then they go into, whereas,
All this, the blue stuff is new.
yeah, the blue stuff is, then they go into, the regional committee, this is interesting, because they put in there that the regional committee, after discussing the so-called Hampden Wilbraham Regional School District recommended reorganization plan, voted to accept the 5-year plan with the closure of Thornton Burgess and returning the property to the town of Hampden. So back in 2018, they were talking about turning the town of Hampden. They sent a letter to the Board of Selectmen, saying that they wanted to return the building to Thornton Burgess. And in this next paragraph, it says, whereas on July 17, 2018, the Board of Selectmen declined the school committee's request to terminate the lease. I think we should add something that, because there was ongoing litigation.
I don't see a need for those paragraphs, period.
Neither do I,
period.
neither do
Right.
I.
I mean,
It's
why are we
rehashing
putting
a
that in there?
lawsuit, you know.
Right.
Why are we putting that in there? And this, the bottom line, John, you said it so beautifully. We wanna keep this in our pocket that we can use the school bill, then why are we talking about spending money moving over there? I'm gonna redo this house, but you can move back in anytime and kick me out? No, non-starter.
So, I don't know why those have to be in there
Yeah.
either.
Right,
They don't need to be in there.
yeah,
Has
they
nothing
muddy
to
the
do.
whole thing.
No, okay.
I mentioned at the time you were on the.
I mean, we could go back to other things that they violated in.
Right, and just,
We
we're
can
trying to
just
move
go-
forward here.
okay.
Right.
So the next thing is that the district contemplates amending the regional agreement in order to regionalize grades 6 through 12.
Mhm.
Based on the current numbers in Hampden, the district acting by, through the school committee determined that the Thornton Burgess is not presently needed for educational purposes, and that's best interest of the district to amend the lease, so that's fine. The town, the selectmen agree.
Why does that first line need to be in there about the contemplates a regional agreement, regionalization creates. It has nothing to do with the lease agreement.
It does,
Because they're saying is, what they're saying is that the regional agreement says that the kids have to be educated in each of their towns,
up to eight,
Okay.
yeah, up to grade 8, yeah.
up to grade 8. So they're saying they might change it.
But that has nothing to do with any lease agreement with the building though.
This proposed change
Oh, I see what
isn't
you're
worth the
saying.
paper, isn't worth the paper it's printed on.
I see what you're saying.
It shouldn't, I don't,
We're
I'm
talking
sorry.
about a lease of one building. We're not talking about Green Meadows or anything
Right,
else.
so you just the letters in black, the district acting by and through a school committee has determined that the building is not presently used for educational purposes.
Correct. Yeah, the first line and a
I
half.
also, I'm
doesn't
just
need to be-
saying, the bottom line, the last paragraph, they shall be able to take it back at any time.
We're getting to that.
Yeah,
I'm not even,
We're not
the
there
stuff,
yet.
the stuff leading up to it then means nothing. If they're leaving that in there, it should be, I'm sorry, it's 4 paragraphs. The lease agreement for TWB ends at this date. The lease agreement for Green Meadows stays in effect.
correct. All I
That's
need.
it. What are we, well, I mean, what else is there, Craig? I mean, maybe some little lawyery stuff, but that's the
Right,
bottom line.
there's no need to rehash old things in
Right.
here. There's no need to
Let's go back, the building was
initiate
built
a
in
regional
67.
agreement in here,
you
because
know?
we're not negotiating a regional agreement,
Right.
we're just talking about a lease of a building to the regional school
Right.
district.
I mean, maybe we might get into, you shall leave it in this shape. Bill shall turn over to the town at such and such date. That would be about it. That's like a, I don't know, dismissal of tenancy, whatever you might want to call it, something like that. But this here, I'm sure he billed for it, but.
The district is not able to.
We're paying
use
20% of that bill,
either,
right?
which will even occur.
Yeah, you're paying
Yeah,
20%.
we're paying 20% of that bill, thank
You,
you.
you heard what I told the superintendent, you made a big mistake by sending it to the lawyer. Because the funny part about it is they were willing to just give it up in 2018.
Yeah, right.
So we're gonna delete all that stuff. I'll sit with Brian, we'll delete all that stuff and just
Start
get
from
back to
scratch.
the bottom line.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, none of this makes sense,
No,
Okay.
no.
especially, yeah,
I concur,
That's one page, one page.
I'm saying.
signing ourselves into a hole.
Yeah.
Building use policy. We have a building use policy.
And then there's,
Couple options there.
yeah, did you print out the one I sent over from Becky?
Yeah, I got here.
There's a copy
Oh,
there,
never
but
mind.
I didn't know if we needed 3 and
Okay, sounds good. So basically,
Well, we've got this one.
yeah, I think that incorporated a lot of, I think, what the seniors
Yeah,
and stuff, but yeah, yeah. And then Craig said, I mean, the checkoff list
Yeah,
is
that's-
similar to the
that's-
school thing,
That's
yeah.
why I had to fill out for TWB when
Yeah.
we rented it for fiber optic committee, so
Yeah.
I sent that to Lauren, I think she went through it a little bit and just kind of rephrased it for our needs.
Yeah, the only thing is, I mean, I think this is good, and the background stuff, this is not allowed, this is not allowed, it's sort of
Yeah,
stuff like that,
terms of
so
service.
sign off on that.
Terms of service.
Right.
We wanna go with community use of town hall facilities, policy and procedure.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna, yeah.
I think we also need somebody in charge of Lauren to facilitate availability and legalities behind.
basically already am.
Yeah, right,
I don't mind
but you know, nobody can use a building without checking through Lauren.
having it in
Right.
writing helps.
Yeah, we're having a form filled out, don't I think protects us.
And should we include Academy Hall into this?
I think it's time for another get-together with, and talk about their plans. I mean, they're going into the winter season anyhow, it's pretty much at that point closed, because we talked about keeping the heat bill down, because we saw it get out of control. Maybe pencil it in.
Well, this will still be good when we take over Thornton Burgess, right?
Right,
It's the
basically.
same thing.
Sure.
Was there, do we wanna do a fee too then?
Well, it's in the back.
This is in the back here?
Yeah,
I haven't read it
Yeah,
yet.
there is fees.
depending on the level of group, different fees, yeah.
You know,
Okay.
and obviously we waive it for, you know, town departments and stuff like that.
Yeah. Boy Scouts,
Yeah, they were-
things like
they were-
that, yeah.
What about renting the hallway here? That's been suggested.
I've seen that, yeah.
Is that free?
Good. Anything else on that?
There's a bench up there. Yep.
I think, so Lauren, we'll go with this one. Alright. We have, some license permits, the Board of Health, I believe, has one.
Mm-hmm. Some of the ones, and I know you enjoy seeing these, Don, because, this is the Joy Cup Bubble Tea from right down the road from my office, Shaker Road. And they'd like to have a table at the Fall Fest on October 5th.
Now, what is bubble tea?
I'll defer to Craig.
I have no clue.
Okay, I'll defer to Brian. Lauren?
Don't drink tea.
No idea. I mean, is Baba tea?
Bubble.
Bubble?
tea.
Bubble.
I think it has like,
It's a boulet.
it's a sweet tea that has like tapioca,
Really?
tiny like sugar things in it, I think.
I will say I see it at
Oh, I got,
Blossom at the different places.
I have Google.
Great. Well, hopefully they do well. So I entertain a motion to grant a one-day permit for Joy Cup Bubble Tea at the Fall Fest.
So moved.
It's not B-O-B-A.
There was a little pause there. All in favor? Thank you.
Aye.
Baba tea or bubble tea?
Bubble,
Bubble
bubble,
Bubble
tea.
tea.
Bubble?
bubble,
I've heard of boba.
bubble, bubble, toil and trouble.
Boba tea is made of tea, milk, water, sugar, and tapioca pearls.
Got the Google on? Google?
Yeah.
That's just the name, Joy Cup Bubble Tea.
Do they sell Baba tea? This is gonna be good. These are gonna be good minutes, Lauren.
Okay.
Is it Baba?
Bubba?
Here you go, bubble tea, also known
We're
as,
going down that rabbit hole and you, Craig,
all is known
stop
as
him.
pearl milk tea.
I wanna know too.
Well, it's tapioca milk tea. Right, that's your money, tapioca. You would know that coming from Hampshire County.
Marble-sized tapioca. Which part of Hampshire County?
I think you gracefully ignored that.
Uh-huh.
I'm from a different part. It feels like a diabetic's nightmare. That's what it sounds like.
All right, I have an entertainment permit, entertainment request, an entertainment license for 11 to 3 p.m. on October 12th at the Cleanup for Cure charitable event. That'll be held at the Commercial Drive in Hampden. And this is the Bermuda's Triangle Band.
They'll play triangles.
Acoustic singing guitar,
Can't
bass
find them.
with an amp.
They can't find them.
Oh,
Nice.
motion approved.
Nobody ever comes back from their
All in favor?
concerts.
Aye.
Couldn't go any further, man. You can't compete with a bubble tea. man.
Selectmen's report?
I think you wanna do your thingies, correspondence.
Oh, correspondence, yeah. Hold on, let me sign this first. Oops. So what do we got on correspondence? We have a letter from, where's that?
Gina.
Yeah, yeah. We're having way too much fun tonight. Cemetery and life insurance discussion. All right. All right. So we have a letter, where are the letters? Are they here? Yeah. We have an email, a letter from Gina Stabilio, regarding, wetland violations that she also sent to the Conservation Commission. And I don't know, have they acted on that, you know, if they're,
I emailed Bonnie. I don't even know if she was in today. I went down, the office was dark, but I emailed her and asked her if they had taken any action on it.
it's in their purview, so we'll just keep track of that. We have an email from Nikki Laird regarding a zoning violation of a home occupancy. And I think she was referred to file a complaint with the
Building commissioner.
zoning enforcement, we don't know, he's on vacation though, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then there's a letter to the governor from the Hampden Wilbraham Regional School District regarding the bus situation, that sometimes they're late, sometimes they're early, sometimes they don't show up at all. And from the discussion at the school committee meeting, it's just a mess throughout the entire
Right.
lower Pioneer Valley, in fact. And they're asking for some of it because they can't get people to drive the buses. So so the regional school committee sent a letter off to that. A letter of in there, the Pioneer Valley Planning Council is asking for a letter of support. For, what's it for?
I think it's it's a housing grant. It is a HUD Pro housing grant. It will provide PVPC with 5 years of funding to update its regional land use plan and housing plans.
And they're asking for all the towns in the Pioneer Valley to support it.
And as a former, you know, planning commission, you know, person yourself, Brendan, this is fairly rote,
Yeah,
getting support from your member communities.
yep.
Yeah.
Especially for the regional land use and housing plans is typically something they want to keep updated.
So we agree to
Definitely.
support it. Okay, yep, we can do that, but.
Yep.
And the last thing is a letter from Anthony Zaremba, who is the teacher for the transitional students, asking if there's space in town. Unfortunately, we don't have, we don't have space for ourselves, and we
Right,
don't,
especially the-
situation over there.
Especially the
if-
accessibility needs. there.
Accessibility needs here, so if you
Challenging.
can draft something up, to, you know, we should respond to Anthony.
Yeah.
All right, that's that. Selectmen's reports?
The big thing coming up, well, obviously with my senior center building committee is, getting ready for a multimedia four-table presentation at the Fall Fest. Thank you for agreeing to be in the dunk tank, Don. And we have planning coming up on Wednesday. We encourage everybody who has questions about anything on their agenda to come to the meeting live. It's the easiest way to hear things, so I did mention, and there has been a concern from the board.
Yeah.
Have we done anything improving the audio in some meetings?
I have some ideas. We're gonna try it out tomorrow.
Okay,
I
is
mean,
there
the
something?
problem is even at the meeting, the acoustics in the auditorium are very bad, and even at the meetings, you can't hear.
It's gotta
Yeah.
be something we're doing, because that's the same setup we bought that
Yeah, I know.
Warbraham had, in their training room
auditorium.
was incredible.
The auditorium,
You think it's the way it just
Right,
echoes?
the way the auditorium set up.
100%.
It's like the way the bricks are falling off the wall in the wrong position. All right,
So you got some ideas how to improve that, right?
that's gonna be critical.
All right.
Fiber optic committee is gonna meet briefly on Wednesday, and then some of them are gonna attend the planning board meeting. But, they were gonna discuss the conversation that Brian and I had with, Spectrum last week about their endeavors to bring fiber optics into Hampden. The game plan, I guess, from them is probably within the next month or two, probably, definitely by the end of this year, that they will have upgraded their infrastructure to support symmetrical internet speeds throughout Hampden. There'll be a hybrid fiber optic setup. So they are looking to coordinate with the safety officials when they're gonna come in with their 20 to 30 crews, Brian?
He said 30 to 40.
30
at
to
each
40
one.
crews, we're gonna be working overnight hours to
like 9
install that
days.
infrastructure. So,
Well,
just,
Opportunity for detail work for you, Don, I think.
just for point of reference though, I mean, you know, when we started this fiber optic initiative in Hampden 3+ years ago, it was to bring fiber optic internet into Hampden. Obviously it didn't work out in the municipal level, but, you know, I think some of our pushing and prodding was able to facilitate this faster to get it into Hampden, so we can classify it as a win-win if that's the actual case.
there you go. All right. The master plan committee met this morning with VHB, the consultant, and they're working on wrapping up the elements of the master plan. And next Monday, they will forward to us the first draft of all the chapters and all the backup materials that they have for review. And the plan would be for the committee to review it first, then the second draft would go to departments to look at, you know, that they can make their input on that, and then the third draft would be sometime in January. So, also though, that the end of this week or the middle of next week, their drone operators will be in town to take pictures of the town, structures and things like that, so they can put a report and make sense out of the report. And, they're gonna be at the October 5th Fall Fest, they're gonna have a table there, and they'll have 2 representatives that can answer questions and have pamphlets and brochures and talk to you about what the master plan is and what the master plan isn't. The school planning committee, the regional planning committee met last, I got my meeting screwed up here, last Tuesday. And, there's a new member, Mark Ducey, who represents Wilbraham and Selectmen. And he expressed, concerns that the funding formula isn't adequate to support that Wilbraham pays too much of a share of the fund of the regional agreement, and that it's going to affect schools, you know, because they're gonna have to make cuts someplace, but the funding stays the same. So the superintendent pointed out that statutorily, that's the deal.
Right.
The way I listened into that meeting, the way I understood his concerns was he made it sound like Wilbraham was in a financial situation where they were having a tough time.
Meeting their obligations.
Yes, that's what it sounded like in the meeting.
And
Been there.
And the superintendent, it's been there, right, and the superintendent pointed out that, well, that's statutorily, that's the deal
Right.
for regional schools.
You got 5 students, we got 1, you're paying 5 to 1. It's,
So. And what else, oh, we're gonna meet again, and they're trying, they wanna come to the town meeting in May to change the regional agreement, as I said before, to 6 to 12.
Will that be a well presented plan ahead of time, just so people have an idea?
Yeah, that's, they're talking about having the plan ready like January 1st, so we can get months to talk about it. All right, anything else to come before the committee?
just a reminder to the hundreds of people watching that they are working on Allen Street, and that'll be a little bit. And we appreciate people's patience, and we're gonna see a much improved road, both that and Mill Road as well. Don, a quick question for you, Craig, I haven't seen it, how has the line situation in Green Meadows been this year? Similar?
I feel like it's moving a lot faster this year.
Is it better?
Yeah.
I just haven't heard about it, and I haven't seen really it out there.
Yeah, it's been
Maybe
pretty
people
good.
are coming closer, not waiting in
I've
line
got double
as
duty
much.
now going between 2 schools, so I get here and I'm still getting through the line pretty quick.
Great.
So it seems faster this year. I think parents are following in line with the 240 pickup and getting there at 240 and then
Right.
line goes
That's
fast.
key, yeah.
Too bad we had a chance for that snack shack to be put up to help with the budget.
Did you get one of those popcorn peanuts thing? Yeah.
Guy wheeling the
Food
cart
trucks.
up and
Food
down.
trucks.
I saw one for sale recently. That is warm.
Oh, speaking of that, I mean, just, we are looking into the crossing thing.
Yeah.
I did suggest to the board, I know people are concerned with the turn from Chapin. I did mention to Mark, maybe if the crossing was at Academy Hall, it wouldn't interfere with the turn where people are thinking, it's just a thought.
Yeah, but didn't you're crossing an intersection and 200 feet later, you got
Yeah, it's a
a
double.
crosswalk, you know?
Yeah, I think that's more of a.
No, I'm saying we don't put the official like at the
Yeah.
intersection, we move it down to Academy
Yeah,
Hall,
but
so.
I'm saying, so you're going through you get to the intersection and there's cars coming in or out or whatever, and then you got the crosswalk.
Right, it's almost like a double
So I
hazard.
don't know.
So the drivers focus on
Well,
the vehicles in the
but it's
intersection, they
gotta
don't
put
see the
somewhere.
crosswalk.
Yeah,
And it's all the complaints, people saying, yeah, but I'm already turning out of Chapin, I can't be looking for this, and those are
That's
people,
part of
those are
driver safety,
people
is you need
whacking.
to look left, right,
Mhm.
left again.
Yeah. So,
I remember that.
I don't,
you know what?
you just gotta remember that.
Get out of here.
Look left,
Motion
right,
to
and left
That's how I
again.
teach my kids.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright, this is,
You waiting to say something? Push the red button.
oh, I gotta end it on this one.
You recorded on